Are you there in the corners of the darkness? Do you hear all the sounds amongst a billion souls of fear? I need the peace within your being. See me kneel before you now. Om Trayambakam Yajamahi Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityor Mokshya Mamritam. And has stood the test of time. Our Purans, our stories, our philosophies, our practices, our wisdom has followed us through the ages. And it's quite emotional actually to think that we're lucky to be loved and part of something that has been around for a long time and is just so symbiotic with nature. It is natural philosophy, it's natural science. And so I was just very much always kept in the stead and the joy of Hindu values and music from a very, very young age. Actually, when I was very, very young, before I learned to speak English, I was actually chanting mantras. I was singing bhajans and mantras before I could speak English. My dad was a singer, not a professional, but a very, very excellent singer. He actually was invited to India to be a playback singer because he had a beautiful voice, rest in peace. And so I heard Indian music and I would listen to so in Africa, the Indians in Africa got music a lot later. So my parents loved like Manade and Saigal and Mohammed Rafi and Pankaj Malik. And, those great singers from the early Bollywood. So the music that was around at the time that I was growing up was not really the music that we listened to. We listened to it from a previous era. And I found out later that those singers like Saigal and all of those guys learned classical singing. They learned that. So they were like semi-classical singers. That's at least what I think is true. And so classical Indian music is very based in natural rock, like the rocks are all connected to nature. It's very, very spiritual. It's very, very spiritual. It's almost like a sadhana, like raga music. It's like a sadhana. So that was infused in the way that those great singers sang. Then my father would sing them, and then I would listen to them, and I would listen to my father. So the spirituality of the music was always there from when I was in my mother's womb. I was listening to that. And then, as I said, when I was a child, I would just chant mantras in my very low, deep voice and sing. So it was just there from the beginning. And then, you grow up and you go in the Western world and you listen to like R&B and you listen to all these other music and you listen to, and you asked about my journey and how I've kind of come back to this in 2009. I randomly auditioned for a show in Germany that was like Indian culture meets Cirque du Soleil. And it was like a repertoire of like Peter Gabriel, Sting, and all of those guys, plus music from 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 A.R. Rahman, from A.R. Rahman. So I was learning like phonetically Carnatic Tamil songs, and that's the first time that I had been exposed to that. And I decided, yeah, I'm going to try and sing these live as well as all the other things. And I just got into the sounds, and then it was really from then that something reawakened in me about singing in those dialects and in those languages. And then I moved to America, and I had no idea that being in California would be an incredibly transformative place for me. So I was singing a little bit in satsangs in the UK, but when I came to California, I it, it's kind of interesting. It's like you come further and further away from India almost to come back. And I came here and it actually propelled me back into, the philosophies and all of this world. Um, And I started to just allow myself to, what feels good to me, basically. Being far from home is tough. Being far from your family is hard. It's not easy thing to move to another country, away from everything you know, everyone that you love, being here on your own. So naturally, you're going to, if something feels good and it feels loving, you're going to run to it. And I would go to some kirtans again, and I would just be, open to that. And I met incredible teachers. I met incredible practitioners. So I've just dived more into my study in the last, actually many years now. And that's really where the love of it comes from. And so I'm giving you very convoluted answers, but because everything is so multi-layered in my life, it's not linear. Like, as we know, life's not linear. So I was, singing in that big show in 2009. And then I came here just to songwrite. I wasn't even planning on being singing again because something quite tough happened after the show. Like it ended in a way that was so hard for my system. It was so painful that I actually vowed never to sing again. I vowed never to sing again
Oh, I'm
in
so
2000,
sorry.
in 2010. Yeah, I had this moment of defiance and I went, I'm never going to sing it. It's like one of those when something that you love doing ends in such a difficult way and a painful way, you're just heartbroken, right? And I thought it was music that broke my heart, but it wasn't. It was just circumstance. And now I believe the heart actually doesn't break because it's the heart that's actually stays full and brings you back to everything. So, so my heart was still working to bring me back. And so I was songwriting. I was just mainly songwriting when I was in America. And then people were asking, I've sung for, His Holiness Sri Ravi Shankar a few times. I've sung for different luminaries, but I never thought that I would record sacred music. I never thought that would be something that I would do, honestly. And slowly, people started to ask me, they're like, can you please record this? Because we want this at home. We want to listen to you at home. And I resisted it for such a long time. Honestly, I resisted it because it's a very intimate, personal thing when you sing to the divine. It's so personal and it's yours relationship. And and then after a lot of bugging and a lot of please, I recorded my previous album Sapta, and that just it completely changed everything for me, even while recording it, because I was singing these sounds and these mantras. All you don't realize how powerful they are, and it just steeped me more and more and more. And then I decided to expand on that, as I said, to do a tapestry of expressions that I love that have felt really good to me. I am born in the UK, and I wanted to bridge the gap between the philosophies and the mantras to audiences or even people of our background that don't understand Sanskrit. I didn't learn Sanskrit like in school or anything like that. I had to self-teach, self-learn. Um, but a lot of us in the West, we don't, it's tricky for us to find it's tricky, right? To balance that. So I thought, how beautiful would it be for me to write a couple of the tracks in English and Sanskrit? I want to express all parts of my experience so that other people could find themselves in that experience. And there's many Indians from England and the Western America have said, I'm so happy that you have recorded some of these songs this way because I feel like it's a more gentle entryway for me. And that's your job as a musician. I feel like that's your dharma as a musician, is to create music that invites everyone into the experience. Yeah. Thank you for asking me, and I'm so grateful to be able to share this. There's so many layers into this album, and one of the things that I wanted really is at the core essence of this is that we all in some way have a battle to express the voice of the soul, right? As Vishnu says, we come here and it's not a pleasant time. It's kind of hard to be a human being. And the reason is because there's many reasons, but one of the things is that this place is made to kind of keep you in that illusion from who you truly are. It's tough, and especially in this world that has developed, we don't live in the forest anymore. We don't live like how we used to live within nature and just what the isness of this existence is, the purity of this existence. We live in a digital world where influence, the food isn't so clean, the stresses are so different. So they additionally assist us in forgetting who we truly are. And I genuinely believe that a lot of suffering that is going on in the world with even mental health, like the rise in mental challenges, I would say, not mental health, but the challenges we have with our mental health, is that we don't know who we are. We forget, we're constantly distracted. And really, if we're able to not just listen to the sound of our soul, but make sound into reality of the sound of our soul, that's when you become strong, you become a warrior, because you're tethered and guided by something that is so beyond all of this. It's like having a direct line to the divine. It's like you got them on your side, you're good, you're golden, and you can persevere and come through anything and face a challenge, knowing that it is a challenge. The challenge is not you. The battle is not you, right? You're made to go through it. That's why we're born. We're born to go through it, right? It's like I say it I said it at my concert recently, and everyone laughed. I said, you take the form of this little embryo in the belly. You're in your mother's belly, and you're floating around in the amniotic fluid, and you have your food provided through the placenta. You're taken care of. You're cuddly. You're warm. You're safe. Your mother's got you, right? And then comes the time to enter the world. And you start making your way through this canal, and you're getting all squished, and you're like, what is happening? It's probably not a pleasant journey. And you kind of go through it. Sometimes it takes a few hours. Sometimes it takes 72 hours. You just don't know. And you're like, what is going on? Where am I going? And then you come out into the world. And what's the first thing that happens to you? You get hit. Life goes, hello, bang. Right? And then you go up, and you make a sound. And you make a sound so you can breathe. And it's funny, everybody talks about breath being the first thing you do. It's not, it's a sound. The first thing you do is you make a sound in order to breathe. Think about that for a second, right? So anything that happens, any knock in life will help you make a sound, and it's you declaring, I'm here. Just like when you came out your mother's womb and you got hit and you declared, I'm here. Now I'm taking breath. And that's what I want for people to take away from this, is step forward, have that courage. And when you listen to these vibrations and this music, have the trust and faith that just like after you got hit, it was a little baby and you came out and you breathed, what happens after that? You get placed in your mother's arms. You're loved, right? So ultimately, life is a cycle of that. Life is a cycle of coming out, getting knocked, making the sound, being loved. And again and again and again and again and again. We have sequential moments in life that are like that. The whole of life is one big journey. And then we have multiple lifetimes that are like that. But it's all for us to evolve and understand who we are and remember who we are. Everything that happens in life, every challenge is there to help us remember who we are. And the journey of the album, just to share, is that the first mantra, lead me from untruth, lead me from darkness to light, lead me from death to immortality. Oftentimes that's sung at the end of something. I put that first because of where we are, the journey that I have been through. I wanted to go straight into the fire. Let's go. Yagya ovens, whatever people, yagya fire is the thing that we start with in every ceremony, and I wanted to start with us being willing to sit in the fire and purify. So we start with purification at the beginning of the album. And then we go to this desperate question of, even no matter if we grow up in a family with faith or we have sadhana for years, I can say with good amount of confidence that we all question when we see things going on in the world or things happening in our lives. We think, are you there? Like, is what I believe true? Is what I believe something I believe because I was told to believe it? Or is it actually my experience? Do I trust that there is some higher presence there? So that first song, Liberate, Mahamrityunjaya Mantra, it's starting with that desperation of that point, that kind of crux point of, I don't know which way to go because I don't understand what's happening. And then the question is in English and the answer is in Sanskrit. So it's like the question is in the modern world and the answer comes from the timeless world. Right? And then the next one is Kali. Kali comes in and comes and goes, boom. She's like, tears it up, but with such an incredible amount of love. Right? Such an incredible amount of love. And then Durga Ma, you're talking about her being like, the ultimate, like, supreme culmination of consciousness. And she's the one that defeats Mahishasura, right? In the story about Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva trying to beat Mahishasura, who's taking over the whole universe. And who do we call on? When the men can't take care of it, we call on the ladies, right? We call on the divine feminine. But she comes in strong to fight. Then the next track is like Gaganita Tara, which is the Tamil track, which is a culmination of all the forms of the divine feminine, Parashakti. And that's when you fought the battle in your mind, everything falls away and you see the isness of the universe. You actually understand what this entire creation is made of. And it's the dancing form of Parashakti, creating everything. It's not, the battle has fallen away. Then you have the turning point of the album, which is the spoken word bit, right? That ends with that line that talks about Hanuman's devotion to Ram. Like, when I do not know who I am, I serve you. When I know who I am, you and I are one. And then the next one is Hanuman Chalisa, because after you're going through the fight, you realize that actually humility makes you extremely powerful, and devotion is the ultimate warrior. And Hanuman is the most devoted. That's what makes him so powerful. That's what makes him represent the 5 elements. That's what makes him the prana in our own body, nervous system. And then you go to Ram, you go to Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, and it's in celebration of that noble qualities, the relationship between mind and heart, Sita and Ram. And once we've gotten to that place of our throne, and like my kingdom, like Ram is the seat of us. Oh, I've gone through the fight to return home. Just like Ram did. He went through all of his karma, all of that, to come home and take his rightful place. We are all here on this planet to take our rightful place in the seat of our own kingdom, the throne here. And then the last track is finally when we are in that place, then we can truly send a prayer of peace out to all the realms. So it's a real journey of, I didn't formulate this in my head as I was creating it. I didn't sit down and go, I'm going to do this and I'm going to go here and it just happened naturally. I'm sorry to disappoint people because they probably think that there's a way of doing it. And some artists are very good at constructing it. For me, it's not constructed. It just kind of happened that way. And so by the end of it, you've gone from purification to peace. And you can actually listen to it backwards as well, which is really cool. You can go from peace to purification. So depending on where you are in your life, you can go any direction in the album, actually. Um, so yeah, that was just an overarching, just giving you more understanding of what this album is. And honestly, it keeps revealing itself to me. That's the power of, like, I realized things while I was doing it, and even after it was released, I've realized the different layers of what it expresses and what it touches upon, because as people have responded to me and told me what's been happening for them, it's enlightening for me. I'm so in awe of what music can do, even for the creator. I probably have a very infinitesimally small understanding of the power of sound. It's so powerful. I'm just lucky I get to play with it. I, you know.